An annular solar eclipse is right around the corner. We also have Psyche, which is about to lift off. And remember that asteroid that we landed on and got some samples? Well, we finally got those back on the next Astronomy and Coffee. Happy Monday to you. Well, as I just mentioned, we have an annular solar eclipse coming up on October 14th. An annular solar eclipse, and we will be doing a sidewalk viewing of this annular solar eclipse. I'll have some binoculars with some filters on them and a telescope. October 14th, this Saturday, at the Yazoo Plaza, I believe, unless I change that. And it will begin at 10:30, so 10:30 a.m., and it will last until, I believe, 2:30 or so. Maybe, no, actually 1:30, I believe it is. Anyways, so let's talk about an annular solar eclipse and what the difference is between an annular solar eclipse and a total solar eclipse. Now, we're not going to be in the path of this annular solar eclipse, but we'll still see something cool, we'll still see something. That's kind of interesting. But basically what an annular solar eclipse is, it's a bit different than a total solar eclipse in that in an annular solar eclipse, the moon is either too far away or the sun is too close to us to completely create that full coverage you all know that you get from a total solar eclipse. So in an annular solar eclipse, you get this ring around the moon. Now, this is all happening because the moon's orbit isn't completely perfectly round, and sometimes the moon is closer to us, and sometimes it is a bit further away. The same thing goes for the orbit of the Earth. Now, our orbit around the sun isn't perfectly round, and sometimes we're a bit closer to the sun, and sometimes we're a bit further away. And on these occasions, we see the result of an annular solar eclipse. So again, we're not directly in the path of this annular solar eclipse, but we can still see a partial one on October 14th. The whole thing will begin at, like I said, 10:30-ish, 10:32 a.m. Baton Rouge time, and we'll see maximum coverage on our end at 12:04, and the whole thing's going to end at, what they say, 1:43. Yeah, 1:43. Now, the Highland Park Observatory will also be having a viewing session for this, just to let you know. They'll have some better equipment, I believe, but I will also have some binoculars and some solar viewing glasses for the public to check out if you happen to swing by. So if you're in the area, come and check it out. I'll be at the Yazoo Plaza section of the museum, which is over by the staff parking lot. You can't miss me. I'll be there. Well, also up is that we have a something called Psyche, and NASA will be launching Psyche on October 12th, which is right before that solar eclipse, that annular solar eclipse. So in just 2 weeks' time, NASA will launch their Psyche mission in cooperation with SpaceX, and this mission will explore a metal-rich asteroid that might reveal the early planetary building blocks of our solar system. Its aim is to lift off on October 12th, so just a little bit before that annular solar eclipse. It's already been pushed back, so hopefully this October 12th they'll actually lift off and get things underway. Now, this will mark the beginning of a 21-month mission, which is scheduled to visit an asteroid called 16 Psyche. Now, this orbits the main belt between Mars and Jupiter. Why this asteroid? Because it has sparked interest in scientists because it may be the missing link to understand the formation of the solar system's planets. They think that this asteroid might be the exposed nickel core of a planetesimal, an early planetary building block. So could this give us an understanding of the formation of planets? We shall soon find out. Now, after it launches, Psyche will have a 2.2 billion mile commute to its target, and this will take about 6 years to do. So, well, speaking of asteroids, we finally got those asteroid samples back from Bennu. By the way, if you're looking for a good name for your cat or dog, Bennu should be right up there. Well, back on September 8th, 2016, the Atlas V rocket left Earth with OSIRIS-REx on board. Now, eventually, OSIRIS-REx would take more than 2 years and 1 Earth flyby to reach the asteroid Bennu. Whenever OSIRIS-REx touched down on the surface of this asteroid, and this was in a region called Nightingale, it fired off this burst of gas, and this sort of rustled up this rubble and debris, and it was able to collect this into a collection area. And it left and headed back home and traveled over 4.4 billion miles, taking 7 years to complete its mission. And the capsule with the samples from asteroid 101955 Bennu were finally delivered to Earth successfully on September 24th. So let's take a look at this video here, which kind of shows how this little trade-off, this little handoff went down.
OSIRIS-REx is NASA's first asteroid sample return mission. It launched in September 2016 on a journey to explore a near-Earth asteroid called Bennu. After arriving in 2018, OSIRIS-REx spent nearly 2 years orbiting Bennu, mapping and studying its rugged terrain before carrying out its primary science objective. On October 20th, 2020, the spacecraft ventured to a small crater in the asteroid's northern hemisphere. It dodged jagged rocks and towering boulders and plunged its arm into the loose surface, excavating 6 tons of debris while collecting about 250 grams of material. OSIRIS-REx stowed its bounty and closed its sample return capsule. It bid farewell to Bennu in May 2021, embarking on a 1.2 billion-mile cruise back to Earth. Now, 2 years and 4 months after leaving Bennu, OSIRIS-REx is closing in on the place where its journey began. On September 24th, the spacecraft will approach to nearly 63,000 miles from Earth. It will power up and release its sample return capsule at 4:42 a.m. Mountain Time. The capsule must be jettisoned within a narrow time frame and at just the right angle to hit its target, an area of roughly 250 square miles in Utah's West Desert. Once the capsule is away, OSIRIS-REx will fire its thrusters to avoid colliding with Earth. At 8:42 a.m., the capsule will streak into the atmosphere at a blistering 27,000 miles per hour. It will race across the western U.S. and begin to glow with heat, allowing infrared trackers on the ground to chart its progress. As it pushes deeper into the atmosphere, the capsule will rapidly decelerate, subjecting the Bennu samples to a punishing 32 Gs. About 2 minutes after entry, it will slow to Mach 1.4 and deploy its drogue parachute, stabilizing its descent. The capsule will enter special use airspace at 8:46 a.m., almost 10 miles above the Department of Defense Utah Test and Training Range. Radar stations will lock on and track it to within 30 feet of its landing site. At 8:50 a.m., the capsule will extract and deploy its main parachute 1 mile above the ground. It will make its final descent at a leisurely 11 miles per hour, like a marathon runner savoring a victory lap, before touching down in the desert soil at 8:55. After ground teams retrieve the capsule, the Bennu samples will be taken to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. The sample canister will be opened in the Astromaterials Acquisition and Curation Facility, and the samples will be curated, distributed, and studied for decades to come. Having delivered its cargo, the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft will depart Earth, but its journey will not quite be finished. In a daring encore, the renamed OSIRIS-APEX will enter an elliptical orbit of the Sun, repeatedly passing within the orbit of Venus and pushing the limits of its thermal design. Beginning in 2029, it will chase down and investigate Apophis, a 1,200-foot stony asteroid destined to make an exceptionally close flyby of Earth. After 13 years in deep space, at the start of a new decade alone on a new world, the journey will continue.
So what are they going to do with these samples now that we have them back here on Earth? Well, there are 12 hypotheses and 54 sub-hypotheses that the science team will be testing. And these fall into 4 categories. 1, evaluate the interpretation of data collected by Bennu and at Bennu from the camera and spectrometers. 2, look at organic compounds of interest for the formation of life and chemical pathways that led to their formation and destruction in Bennu. 3, use Bennu samples to investigate the history of the solar system from the formation of the proto-solar nebula all the way to the formation of the Hokioi crater from where the sample was collected. And 4, how has the sample changed since it was collected physically and chemically? The samples represent pristine material from the primordial solar system, plus could also help us understand the composition of the asteroid if we ever need to move one in the future. And now OSIRIS-REx is headed off to another asteroid called Apophis, which actually does pose somewhat of a threat to us in the future, but I'm sure we will be just fine. Well, as scary as that might sound, we do have something else kind of scary coming up. The Halloween Day at the museum, it will be October 28th. This October, yes, our annual Halloween Day at the museum, where you can possibly win something like this. There we go. The Monster Book of Monsters. Yes, our Halloween Day at the museum, which will have our Harry Potter show, the astronomical world of Harry Potter, also the worlds within Star Wars. Come by, dress up in your favorite gear, cosplay, dress up as your favorite Harry Potter character. We're going to have hands-on activities like paint your own wand, which you'll need because we will be doing some planetarium magic inside the planetarium. I'll need your help to do some planetarium magic. We'll be doing some monster bookmark making, monster bookmarks. We're going to be doing some chromatography, making some secret messages. We'll be doing some leaky cauldron stuff, like making some butterbeer and having some every flavor beans out. We're going to have a selfie station, our platform 103 quarters selfie station. All kinds of fun stuff. All of these activities, these hands-on activities, will begin at 12 o'clock. From 12 to 5, the Harry Potter show will be at 3 o'clock. There is a parade that will be going on downtown, too. I think it's called the Fifole. Right. Yeah, something like that. We'll be going downtown at 4 o'clock. So also, if you don't want to do the parade, you can do our Fright Light laser show as well at 4 o'clock. So lots going on downtown at the museum on the 28th. Remember that annular solar eclipse will be on October 14th. I'll remind you next week, though. Next week, when we have yet another Astronomy and Coffee.